Hi, I'm Rigger, this is Your Right, and we are continuing with our path of the Avatar. So, we're on episode 3. Before we start, we'll get the YouTube things out of the way. If you like it, like it. If you think others would like it, then share it. If you have something to say, please leave it down in the comments below, because you know I read them, and subscribe if you want to see more and join us on the rest of this journey. If you're new to my presentation style, it's not a reaction. I'm going to watch the episode and then give you my thoughts after seeing the episode, and you'll see freeze frames to indicate what I'm talking about or tell us where we are sort of along the episode lines. That being said, no mucking around, we're diving straight in to episode 3, The Southern Air Temple. Alright, starting out, it is going to become a thing where I just say I like the episode, because I like the episode a lot. The decision to make this episode sort of two stories running side by side, almost a comparison between Aang's discovery and learning about Zuko, is a fantastic step. You know, we can do these things at the same time, keep the story moving. I have to say that now we have a name for Iroh, which is good, and he get told he's a great hero, which is cool, and we learn more about Zuko this episode, which is great, and we have Zhao, I think it's Commander Zhao, and we head into the Air Temple, again, ahead of time, because I've seen the movie, and, one of the things I wish I hadn't, but, so be it, that's just the reality of the thing. I knew that there weren't going to be people there, we already knew that sort of going in, but I really like how they dealt with it in this episode. But anyway, that's sort of my opening spiel. This episode felt a bit like an epic, like there was, I felt the time in a good way. Like, if you see something great, sometimes the time flies by and you don't notice. I did notice the time here. It felt like it was taking a long time, but not in a bad way. It's just I felt like there was so much happening, and we got a lot of questions answered, so that's good. Anyway, so we'll dive into the plot. Right away, I'll say that, not that it wasn't good before, because it was, but I really started to appreciate Zuko's voice acting. Obviously, he's one of the more beloved people in this series, and his voice actor gets a lot of love. But yeah, he really did well here. I really liked the way he tried to brush off the commander and tried to express himself. It was really quite good. I liked his sort of low register, and there was sort of a bit of spit and low rumble in there and a bit of slurring, and it really helped. So I really liked the personality he was putting off, and we got to see how fun and crafty and interesting Iroh is. And I know he's also very beloved. I see memes of him and stuff all over the place, so I know I'll like him. But you get a real taste of just, he's not just a wise master, he's not just someone who takes it casual, he's also politically smart, and he is cunning, and you get to see a lot of that. And also, I really like Katara trying to look out for Aang. Now, there's been jokes about, your new boyfriend Aang, and we've definitely seen Aang looking at Katara like, he's attracted to her or whatever, like young crush or whatever. But all that aside, I actually really like Katara trying to be the adult and to be someone who's gone through loss. And we get it mentioned that her mother was killed. I don't think we got that confirmed. We just knew that her father was gone and they were alone. I didn't know that her mother had specifically died, or at least I don't think I did. But either way, we get that confirmed, and then she steps in and is trying to prepare Aang for what he might see, is prepared for what they logically think is coming up. And even though Aang is a bit naive or not willing to think about it, which is fair enough, I do like her attempt to do that, to be like, okay, let's try and be caring here, let's try and plan ahead, and speaking from her personal experience as well. I really think that's a great character step. It's characters being smart. It's you would think ahead if you'd been through those things. And also, I had a question about the flying bison, if it was just an Avatar thing, because they had airbending like patterns on them, and I had a question if the Avatar arrows were, if the arrows were airbending things or Avatar things. All those things are answered. We see other flying bison around. They're the only real means of getting to airbending temples, because they're in places you can only get to if you fly, like mountain ranges that are inaccessible, which makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. It's a great protective system. Obviously, that then raises the question of how people got in, and I know again from the movie there's some sort of traitor at some point, but either way, you definitely get those ideas, like, okay, well, how did they get in? Because we find out that they did, and it answers what flying bison sort of are, that they're not just like, there's not just one of them, and it's not just the avatars, it's an air temple thing, an air bending thing, and we see other people with the arrows, and it's an air bending symbol, not just an avatar symbol. So all these little questions are being answered as we go, and I really appreciate that, because they're all questions that I brought up. So not only were they things I wanted to know, but the show recognized they are things that we wanted to know and didn't just, assume you'd catch up. They answered them. So that's really cool. Next, I'll say I really like some of the world building. Actually, well, I'll mention real quick. I do like that we learned that Zuko's been at sea for 2 years. We will learn that he was cast out, so that's pretty cool. That gives us his motivation and a time frame, and shows you how, what that length of time must have done to a person with this kind of mission. I was going to say that the world building's really cool. So they mentioned the airball thing. I doubt that's ever going to come into play again, but it's cool to be like, yeah, they would have a game. They would have things that make the world feel living, things that make the air temple feel like it's not just, a building, like people lived here. There were things to do. They covered where the bison sleep, just little things that like you don't have to put in there, but they make the world feel real. It's really great. Next, and I also want to say that on top of Katara trying to look after Aang, Sokka did the same thing, and it's again admirable that they're not just kids. They're recognizing these things. And when they discovered the Fire Nation helmet, I was like, oh, that's really smart, because even though I don't really like the design, I'm like, oh, the skull on it lets you, put skulls around without it being so gruesome. Little did I know what we would find later, because again, I saw the movie, I didn't expect the cartoon for him to walk over, a field of skulls like happens in the film. And I was like, how are they going to cover it here? And then I thought, oh, you got the empty helmets that look like skulls. Little did we know we'd be finding an actual skeleton. But, that so be it. But, so that bit of design, like I mentioned last episode, works quite well anyway for that idea. And I do like that they think it's the right thing to do. They know it's the right thing to do to tell him, but Katara can't bring herself to do it and tries to hide it from him. You might say it's not a smart thing to do, and that's correct, but it's a very human thing to do, to try and save someone from that pain. So that's quite cool. And you really get the conflict between Zuko and the rest of the Fire Nation, particularly Zhang, because, they interrogated his crew behind his back to find things out. All those kind of things. So, you get that how separated he is and how little he's trusted. And obviously he's a bad dude. The commander's a bad dude. But that works in that, Zuko's not just a bad guy. You do feel sorry for him. You're like, when he comes to the fight, you want him to win. You want to see him, beat these other people. He's not just the out-and-out bad guy. And I knew he wouldn't be. And, good shows don't make them that. But that's really interesting. And now I want to see his journey. And I know that people love his journey, and I can understand why. But, you plant those seeds early. He sort of seems like a bad guy the first 2 episodes, but you're only seeing him in the context of his mission. Now you're seeing him around others, you get what's going on. So, yeah, great work. And putting him with someone like Iroh really helps with that. I do like the use of flashbacks we get. It really does show what life was like. And also, even though it's sort of expected, I love the non-traditional training techniques, very common of the sort of wise martial arts master, from any sort of media, whatever, pick whatever you want. Karate Kid's a good one, cleaning the cars and painting the fence and you learn the moves. Again, here, he's raising cakes, using air, that's really cool. And you think it's all going to be like, that makes sense for like delicate balance and being gentle, but no, they fling them at other monks at the end, and that's working on his aim. That's really great. You give character to these side characters, and you understand where some of Aang's playfulness comes from. And also you get the knowledge of like, okay, so normally avatars are told when they're 16, because they're sort of more adult and can handle it, and he was told early, so that's definitely going to play into whatever happens. And you can see his second thoughts, and then you get the idea that he's going to meet someone who will help, and as an adult you sort of get, it's going to be like a more spiritual kind of journey or something. It's not going to be like an actual person, but still they're setting those seeds early, and they'll pay them off this episode, which is cool. So anyway, I like the flashback, I like how it's lit, I like the look at the other monks. Again, you get those questions answered about lots of flying bison, you get to see the airbending symbols on lots of them. So yeah, it's cool stuff. And the greatest airbender in the world is not a stuck-up, just wise master dude. He also has fun and teaches them what he knows in non-traditional ways, which is again sort of expected in this kind of media, but still appreciated and interesting, especially for a kids show. So anyway, we'll keep going. Another comment I'll make that I did really like is the idea that hey, no one could have survived in there for 100 years. And he goes, well, I survived for 100 years. Good point. Like, yeah, fair enough. That's a decent argument. And it's nice to see Katara just be like, yeah, that's actually a good point. It's not the case, but it sounded like a natural conversation, and it's pretty funny, and you're sharing it with different characters. Something that didn't age so well is some of this CG. You noticed it earlier when they played Airball, and you notice it here with this lock. Some of those big moving elements did not age well. They just don't mesh with the drawn style, which, it's an age thing, and I'm not going to hold it against against the show, but you can definitely see the separation. You know, I'm just going to comment on it because it's there, you can notice. But just like with the airball, I really like that, of course, in this world, if you have airbenders and that, you would design specific locks you can only open with specific skills. So this air lock makes a whole lot of sense. If you want to lock off something, you know, very important to airbenders, you put a lock on it that you can only unlock with airbending. Makes a whole lot of sense, so that's really cool. Something I don't get to comment on much, but I guess will come up in this, is ad break stings. Clearly when they've put in something to cross an ad break. This is a pretty poor one because we already know the outcome because we've seen the lemurs before. But I guess it's sort of meant to be a joke. We're in on it and they're not. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. It's just something I never get to talk about because most of the stuff I review doesn't have like obvious ad breaks left in it. But at least on Netflix in their edit, they're still obviously there, and I assume they're like that for the DVDs and stuff too. Because you know you have to re-edit to change them. The lemur's an interesting thing. I'll talk about it later, I think. Although the fact it has wings is weird, like gliding wings. You do get little discussions like, you know, reaffirming in universe, not just the opening monologue, that every 100 years the Avatar's reborn, and you get the message, or you get the info that he rebirths through the cycle. So each time he dies, he will reappear in one of the different Bender's nations in a set pattern, and you know, Aang gets, you know, knowledge he sort of shouldn't have about who some of these people are, especially Master Roku, Avatar Roku. So yeah, you know, you get that connection of like, yeah, this is a real thing, and obviously we'll see it in a sec, and we've seen evidence of it before, but at least we get the discussion in universe about this stuff, and it's cool that people like Sokka, who aren't really, you know, into it and aren't benders themselves, would question this is real, especially after a 100-year gap, you know. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so here you get you know, more exposition about who Zuko is, you know, banished, and you get at least the commander's assessment of things, that the Fire Lord, I assume is his father, wouldn't want him back, and Avatar or not, if he did want him back, he would have welcomed him back by now. And you have Zuko's, you know, affirmation that no, when I get the Avatar, I'll be welcomed back and put back on the throne. And you have the arrogance of the commander, showing how much he thinks he's above him, of course, and you know that he has, you know, underestimating him. So again, you're even taking our bad guy, quote unquote, and you're making him the underdog amongst his people, which is cool. And again, I just thought it'd be cool to mention that I like that they have a combat system. That's pretty cool. A challenge by combat is something that a lot of you know, civilizations have had, and especially if you're a martial civilization like this, it's a pretty cool thing to include, especially in a show that has, you know, combat and martial arts in it. So I really appreciate that. I hope we get to see more fights after this, you know, more challenges by combat between firebenders and that kind of thing. It'd be cool. I will talk about this real quick in relation to what I said earlier. I didn't think we'd go this far for a kids show. Full-on skeleton, and we know who it is, like, damn, alright. Respect for that. You probably wouldn't see that these days, and that's kind of a shame. I mean, it's not bloody or anything, but you get the message, and it shows you the aging time. That's where 100 years comes in handy. There's no meat left on the bones. But, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It sends the message pretty strongly, and I think that's worth applauding and mentioning. So that's really cool. I don't expect to see that very much through the show, that level of at least implied violence, but it's still pretty cool to have it here for such an important moment. So now I want to talk about the avatars for a second. One, I think it's crazy how many they're implying there have been. That room with the full pattern plus all of the the tower all the way up. That's a lot of generations of people. Like, that's a crazy amount, especially that have been observing, and like there's a lot of history there. I don't think we'll delve into all of it, but that's pretty crazy. But the thing that I really picked up, I also want to say I really like that there is an avatar like shrine or something in each in a temple for each element, and the people there have taken notice because they've all just lit up with the activation of the avatar spirit to such a degree. So that's pretty cool. And it alerts the Fire Nation, of course, and the Earth Earth Nation, whatever they're called, Earth Kingdom. They also, we got reactions from people there. That's pretty cool. That, okay, the world knows now. Like, bam, something happened. That's really cool. But what I really picked up on was Katara. Not only did, when all the avatars lit up, she immediately thought something might be wrong with Aang and ran off. Now, I can let that go, like, oh, something happened with the avatar statues, maybe the avatar's in trouble. Okay, but then she got to him and he was glowing and flying, and he went, what's wrong? He found out they killed Yatsu. Oh no, it's his avatar spirit. He must have unlocked it or must have activated it. So she knows. I want to know what she knows, and why does she know it? So, is it that this avatar spirit / state, whatever you call it, is well known? Is it something she was interested in and studied despite being in her tiny village? I want to know that answer. Does everyone know? Because I want to, because Zuko looks surprised when he was sort of expecting he might know more elements, but, he didn't react to all the glowiness. So, I want to see, except he didn't react except for surprise. So, I want to know, what does Katara know, and why does she know it? And does everyone know it? Because, I want more info on this, because I noticed. That's cool. Next up is the Duel, and I want to say it's pretty good. It's not shot excellently. There's some camera choices I don't like. It's a bit too close, but, I like seeing the fight. I like that there's some real martial arts stuff in there, Iroh shouts out to break his root, and that really feels like, proper martial arts, trying to break people's balance, break their base, which he does do. He sort of lures him in and then hits him with an unexpected sweep when he thought he was down. That's pretty cool. I think it's interesting that Zuko spared him, or didn't scar him, or whatever the tradition is there, whether it's death or injury or whatever. He doesn't seem to be the type who would have done that, but, he promises next time he won't, but, maybe he's not as ruthless as he makes out to be, which would be my guess. Also, I do like, I didn't mention earlier, but we talked about his scar, obviously, that it's an indication of what happened to him, so it's good to have a visual representation of that all the time, and, it informs the character. And this is where I said I really liked Iroh being as crafty as he is when the commander attacks him from behind. Obviously, Iroh then steps in, blocks it, tosses him aside easily, because we heard he was a hero, so he obviously knows what he's doing, and, called him disgraceful, and said how much more honor Zuko has, even while banished, how much more of a man he is, and put him in his place. That's pretty cool. That's, you got served, mate, so pretty great. I really like this sequence. I really like what it did for Zuko. I really like how it taught us about Iroh. I really like what it showed us about the Fire Nation's traditions, and I really like that Zuko won, because the show got me on side of wanting him to win, and he did, so great work. It is a sad day when I have to criticize Katara, or at least the acting. Her speech was not delivered well, but more than that, it wasn't written well. It was very blunt. I know what it's like to lose people. I went through the same thing when I lost my mom. We're your family now. These are all things that are really great to say. These are all things that are really important, but the delivery just wasn't there, the heart wasn't there, and the script wasn't there. And that's unfortunate, but, nothing's perfect. I'm not going to, completely hate the episode now because I thought it was a bad section. That's not how it works. I can just say that bit wasn't delivered very well, but, I praised their performances so much elsewhere that, we had to slip up. That's alright. There is something interesting I want to note, is that through the language of filmmaking, it's, how is Master Roku, I keep saying Master, how is Avatar Roku supposed to teach me if I can't talk to him? And then we get a, musical sting, and we cut to the lemur, and then the lemur is incredibly intelligent and brings food for Sokka and all of that. So is the lemur got like a link to the spirits or something? Is he teaching him through the lemur? Will he be more than just a lemur? Because that's what I got. Like, how is it supposed to happen? And then ding, ding, mystical noise, and the lemur's here and it's doing smart things. I don't know. Maybe the lemur's special. That would be nicer than just collecting random pets. Because at least Appa has a use. And we don't need any more comedic relief. So, I don't know. We'll see. I didn't catch the lemur's name. I've watched it twice. I didn't put subtitles on. I didn't catch the lemur's name. But I'm sure I'll hear it going forward. But yeah, that's just an interesting one. Oh, and I also wanted to mention the music. I really noticed the music this episode more than the others. During his Avatar spirit moment and during the duel. it stood out a lot more. It was quite good, so I was looking forward to some of the music, and I got a taste of it this episode, and I quite liked it. So that's pretty cool. All right, final thoughts. It's Momo. I went back and checked because it was annoying me. Okay, so Momo. But yeah, final thoughts. I did like at the end there Aang having to realize that he is the last Airbender. Also, title drop, roll credits. He said the thing. You know, that's a big moment, and now we have to see how he deals with that. Final thoughts in this episode, really good. I really liked the development on Zuko. I was expecting it. I didn't know when we'd get it. I'm glad we got it quite early, and we're starting to get to know him. We know Iroh a bit better, which is good because I know he plays a big role. We got through the whole Air Temple in one episode, and really only half an episode because half of it went to Zuko, so that's good. We're again still keep moving. That's excellent. We got little infos and bits about the avatars. We got little hints about what people might and might not know. We got the signal going out that like all the nations know now. We got again more stuff about how his avatar spirit again is probably tied to his emotional state, like a lot of these powers are, which is always important. We got a new member of the party with Momo. We got what else we get? We got the skeleton, which was pretty intense. We got our flashback, and we learned about Flying Bison, how the airbending temples sort of worked, and how the Avatar was told early, and all those sort of things. So yeah, pretty interesting. This is a solid episode. I really like this one. So I think I'll wrap it up there. YouTube things, ding, there it is. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one. I'm constantly impressed by these episodes. I haven't got to one that let me down yet. The thumbnail for the next one is quite interesting, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so far, really solid. I think that each episode's pretty much just gotten better on the last one, making this one the best one so far to me. So, yeah, really cool. Yeah. Anyway, until next time, remember, it doesn't matter if it's Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Karate Kid, whatever it might be. If you need to win, there's one thing you have to do. Sweep the leg. My name is Rigger. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I did alright.